Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a video about innovation, because even though 2020 has been an awful year, I mean, we are all living in the upside down, are we not? In spite of that, technology has proven that it still has something to offer, especially with the majority of us trying to stay safe. And these three phones embody it, in my opinion. We've got the Microsoft Surface Duo, Microsoft's first, or I should say their return to the smartphone world, but their first Android phone ever, which is significant to say the least, because at 14 or 1500 US dollars, they are trying to create a brand new space by giving you a dual screen device that will let you multitask, unlike any device, including LG's dual screen devices that are on the market. And then we have the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2, the second generation Fold, which I think is without any question the best device of its kind ever made, arguably the best phone on the market, but at $2,000, you absolutely are paying for what you are getting. And then last but not least, the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip, which they have also come out with a 5G version. This is not the 5G version, but still, in my opinion, one of the most innovative devices of 2020. And that's why all three of these are sharing the stage today, because that's exactly what they represent. I feel like they're all made for different users, but they share one thing in common. They're all really expensive. As I stated, 14 or 1500 before tax for the Duo. Hardware is decent. Snapdragon 855, 6 gigs of RAM, a 3500 and change milliamp hour battery, no wireless charging, no NFC, no 5G, 18 watt quick charging, if you want to call it that, a single camera, 11 megapixel camera that is really nothing special to talk about, but from a design standpoint, just a beautiful piece of hardware. I do wish they had offered other colors, but that just wasn't part of the game here in Gen 1, and just so clean. I mean, it looks like Apple made it, right? But Microsoft did. So kudos to Microsoft on making one of the coolest looking, and it feels great in the hand. However, it is a little bit wide to be a phone. And the only way you're going to use it as a phone is either like this in speakerphone or folding this around and putting your ear to the earpiece. But that single camera, I just wish they had given us a second one. You know, there are a lot of things I could complain about. I've already mentioned, there's no wireless charging with this, no IP rating. None of these have an IP rating, but both of these have wireless charging. Both of these have NFC. This phone even has a 120 hertz display on the 7.6-inch AMOLED on the interior. But again, Microsoft is back in the game, and I'm glad to see it. This is what pushing the envelope and making manufacturers do more to earn our money is all about. Even if this is a phone I would not recommend to anyone. And there are a lot of Duo users out there who are happy with this. More power to them. I am not one of them. And that's fine, folks. We can all, find the product that makes us happy. So really cool product, but not for me. Just old hardware, wonky software. And at the end of the day, it's just a cool looking device that I feel is well made. And I'm looking forward to the next generation because having two 5.5-inch AMOLED displays that can go 365 degrees is really nice. It's just missing a lot of the polish that really would have made it a primetime competitor, I think, and pull business away from Apple and Samsung. The Z Fold 2, on the other hand, Samsung corrected everything they needed to with Gen 1. They gave us a nearly 90% screen-to-body ratio on the front, as opposed to that 4.5-inch display on the front on the first gen. They gave us the hinge that's on the Z Flip, which allows this to basically take any position you want rather than only being open or closed like Gen 1. They've given us, as I mentioned, a larger, higher refresh rate on the 7.6-inch internal display, which is gorgeous, frankly. We have 5 cameras on this $2,000 beast. 10 megapixel here, 10 megapixel here, and then 3 12-megapixel cameras, wide, medium, and telephoto. 4K video capability. This is also only capable of 4K, by the way, but the stabilization, that whole camera, I wouldn't wish it on anyone. The cameras here are not best in class, which the Gen 1 Fold did give us best in class cameras. I was hoping we were going to get the Note 20 Ultra cameras, which are best in class. The only other phone that competes with it, in my opinion, is the Sony Xperia 1 Mark II, but we didn't get that, and that's okay. So no 8K video, but we still have very good cameras, essentially the S20, Note 20 cameras for the most part. But the real beauty, in addition to everything I've mentioned, and the fact that we got a 4,500 milliamp hour battery, so this gets closer to making it through the day, is you can now use these as your selfie cameras. You don't have to use the 10 megapixel pinhole either here or on the interior, because now you can open up the camera app and use any of these as your selfie camera. And there is a really big difference, I assure you. And I'll get into that in another video dedicated to the cameras on this device. So really enjoying this. Call quality is great. The transition from the external to the internal, it still needs polishing. It's still being worked out, and that's part of the benefit of having a second gen on this. But it's just good to see so much progress made in a single generation, and there should be. I mean, this is a very expensive device, but right now my favorite. I feel like the future is here. And then you have the opposite of these two phones, in my opinion, which also comes in at $1,400 US or a little bit more if you want 5G. By the way, this is the only phone on this desk right now that has 5G capability, even though I'm not in a 5G capable market. And it's the Galaxy Z Flip, which at $1,400 US is designed for people that still want a 6.7 inch, a large display. This is larger than most smartphones on the market, but that folds up and can easily be pocketed, which is not something I can say about either of these. Now, this is definitely more pocket friendly than the Duo. Everyone who keeps telling me that this fits in their pocket, I want to know what brand. Start posting in the comments what brand pants and shorts you wear. Even though that's not my thing, and this is not a channel about designer clothing, I'm very curious. Everyone must be wearing sweatpants, because jeans, shorts, I don't know how you fit this thing in there. And I don't wear skinny jeans. I've had some wise ass comments. I don't wear skinny jeans. So I want to know how people are getting this. I've seen it stuck into pockets, but it looks so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. I wouldn't even attempt it because I'm worried about flex, because Microsoft made this so thin. And yes, Zach over at Jerry Rig Everything did put this through the paces and it held up. That still doesn't make me wary, even after he put it through his BDSM torture test with his ASMR overlay. Kudos to him, by the way. He's one of a kind. But when you talk about this phone, this can fit in my pocket because even though it's really long, it's narrow. The problem I have with this device, the Note 20 Ultra, which isn't part of this video, of the innovation, and for obvious reasons, this is an evolutionary, not revolutionary device, is that it's just so damn big, both in terms of height and width, that it literally sticks out of every pocket I put it in, unless it's like an interior pocket on a sport jacket or a regular jacket, which that's about the only place this is going to fit comfortably, and I'll still feel like I'm wearing some sort of mini flak jacket because of that one area. It'd be good to catch a bullet, I guess, although I don't think it would really help, right? This, on the other hand, complete opposite. You want, again, to retain a large form factor phone, and you still want flagship-esque specs. You're getting it, and you're getting it in a form factor that can fit pretty much anywhere. Yeah, it's thick because it's a folding phone, but it still has everything. It still has wireless charging. It still has NFC. It still has 3 cameras to Microsoft's 1. It doesn't get up to the 5-camera hotness of the Z Fold 2, but it did pave the way with its hinge, which is a big deal. This is a big deal, folks. A lot of people are like, oh, it's a new hinge. It's a big deal. If, like me, you had the original Fold, you know what a difference it makes that you can use a device like this. You couldn't do that with the original Fold. It was only open or closed. And there's a reason Samsung shifted to the exact same design here. It's because they have a flex mode in software that does make practical use of both displays. And, the cameras on here are satisfactory. They're not amazing. The front-facing camera is just fine. The 2 cameras on the rear are also just fine. They're not going to blow you away, but they will absolutely blow away the single camera that is totally impractical to use here on the Duo. But this isn't about ragging on the Duo. Again, this is all about innovation, and that's what these three phones really represent, in my opinion. You've got the best of everything, and as consumers, we have choice. I mean, we have the choice to give away a fortune of money in the middle of a pandemic, which is not a great choice. I would love to be telling you that these things are more economical, but with time, they will be. I think it's a matter of time before folding phones do get to a place where for $1,000, which is still very expensive, you will be able to get a device that you'll enjoy using with a folding display. I can't tell you you're going to be able to write on it or it'll have an IP rating, but I can tell you it's going to happen. And that's because Samsung is all in on this, and they should be. And you're going to see other manufacturers do it. I mean, Lenovo's foldable laptop is right around the corner. And I mean, they showed it off at CES. And I just think it's a matter of time before other phone manufacturers, other than Motorola with that crappy Razr, which the second gen is about to drop as well. I wouldn't call that part of the innovation because that thing was just such a hot turd. But these are not turds. I mean, the Duo, again, I can't recommend, but when I say it's not a turd, I'm saying that because it creates a new space. And that's why it's part of this, what I feel is a revolutionary lineup of devices. I wouldn't put it in this class for everyone who thinks I hate the Duo and that I've been doing nothing but, crapping on it all this time. I'm just being honest, and that's what I do here. If I make a mistake, I stand to be corrected. I take constructive criticism. I don't have a problem with that. If you're going to be a troll, I'm going to kick your ass out of here, but that's a different story. The fact remains, even if this isn't the phone for me, Microsoft has opened the door to a new space, and if they do it right, that space is going to exist, and I'm happy about that because I legitimately was thinking about this being my daily driver because, as I mentioned in a previous video, the trade-in offer for my Note 9 was $550 towards this device, whereas with this device, they'll give me like $150. Thanks, Samsung. I don't have to tell you what I think of that. So for a little over $1,000, this was a really compelling offering, even if I felt all the specifications were a little bit derelict. I mean, they're actually inferior to the little baby Z Flip over here. The Z Flip is a more powerful device, so Microsoft take notes. In every way, by the way. Processor, RAM, cameras, it just doesn't have two displays and a 365-degree hinge. But in every other way, the Z Flip is a more powerful phone. But the point I'm making is that I was ready to make this my daily driver. It just didn't live up to my expectations. And this was my daily driver, and really it came down to, was the Note 20 Ultra going to be my daily driver, or this guy right here? And that's a comparison for another time, but right now it is not looking like it is going to be the Z Fold for me. But innovation is what I love. It's what my channel is all about. It's about the tech world giving us not just a new way to consume content or to communicate, but changing the way we live our lives, and hopefully for the better. And I feel like the beauty of all three of these is that, again, there's something for everyone. If you're that Microsoft fan that, basically bleeds Surface, which I generally do, but not in this case, you've got an option. And by the way, this can ink. These guys can't. You cannot use a pen. Now, I wouldn't recommend this to be purchased under that premise, but it is a valuable, thing that it can do that these two can't. But taking the pen out of the equation, you've got a phone for everyone. You've got the phone that gives you two displays in the form factor of, well, basically two displays. It's really wide. And then you have the phone that is candy bar style that gives you a large format 6.23-inch front display, also an AMOLED, that opens up to a 120 hertz 7.6-inch tablet. That software can split screen, that can, you can change orientation. I'm still waiting on my case that's going to give me a kickstand for this, and that's just going to take the game up to the next level. And nothing is sacrificed here other than the inking experience, which I wish Samsung had at least given us on the front display that does have glass, and I mentioned this in another video. But outside of that, water resistance, that IP rating that none of these have, is what we're all waiting on, right? Because that does make you have to be far more careful with these devices than any other. So for anyone who's saying this is robust, or this is robust, well, water and dust have something to say about that, don't they? So be careful. And then, again, for people who don't want to have a brick in their pocket like either of these, because they're both bricks. I don't care how thin this is. I mean, it's a brick. You got this little baby. And this is literally, it's not just a cute phone. It's got those flagship specs that, as I've said, are better than everything here. And it's older. This is an older phone. So even though it doesn't have 5G, you can get it with 5G for some more coin. 3 cameras that outperform all of the one camera on here, and yet it's a fraction of the size of either of these devices. So welcome to 2020, where we've got folding phones, a dual screen phone from Microsoft, not from LG, which, once upon a time, LG was a great company in the mobile world. And I'm not saying that they don't make good products now, but boy, has their identity just vanished. And that's another thing, another reason why I think Microsoft stepped up to the plate to compete with Samsung and Apple. Apple does no innovating at this point, but you're looking at 2 companies, really one, that's doing all the innovating, and then Microsoft is trying to get on that wave, and they should. I mean, at the end of the day, these 3 devices, in my opinion, absolutely epitomize where things are headed. This is the future of mobile computing for all of us. Even if Microsoft isn't your choice, even if Sammy isn't your choice, they all have fingerprint scanners. They all work fairly well. I mean, can't unlock this. This is part of the software that I'm talking about. You can call this user error if you want, if you really are sucking on the Microsoft teat. And then, of course, this little guy. I mean, just how much cooler does it get than that I've got 2 folding phones and a dual screen phone from Microsoft? I mean, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Pretty amazing what we're looking at here. At any rate, 2020 is a shitstorm of a year, but we do have smartphones to thank for at least brightening things up a little bit, right? I mean, just a little bit. Not a whole lot, but a little. And that sums things up. That's today's video, folks. This isn't a sales pitch. Not that any of my videos are. This wasn't about reviewing them. As I've stated over and over, these are 3 very different devices that really just represent, in my opinion, clean and clear innovation and give 3 different users exactly what they want, or almost exactly what they want, because none of them are perfect. As much as I love this phone, and this was my daily driver, as much as I don't love this phone, none of them are perfect. Let's be really clear. Nothing is. But they're still really cool, and it's an exciting year that we all are in outside of the pandemic and the political shitstorm, in that we've got some great technology. And this isn't it. I mean, NVMe drives, we've got new consoles coming out. Intel's finally stepping up their game with Tiger Lake. NVIDIA just purchased ARM Holdings from SoftBank. Some amazing shit happening here. And AMD has come out of the woodwork and become a force, although I'm not sure how long that's going to last, but we'll see. At any rate, 2020 will be remembered as a horrible year for everything other than technology, and for good reason. If there was ever a year we needed to lean on it, it is this one, and likely 2021. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe. And please stay safe.